Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, gold label Kid Flash. This is Wallace West from the DC Rebirth comics. They did already release one Kid Flash from the Speed Metal Wave, but this is him in his standard costume, and I appreciate that. McFarlane announced this guy, put him up for a pre-order, and bam, he shipped real quick. So let's take a look through packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, McFarlane Gold Label Collection, DC Multiverse, Kid Flash. Here he's in the package. Looks like he has some running hands and some fisted hands, 4 different speed force effects, collector's card, and a display stand. One side of the package, Kid Flash from DC's Rebirth comics. Other side, Kid Flash. Put a little sticker on it. Kind of annoying for those inbox collectors. I'm definitely opening mine. I only collect the Batman stuff unopened. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode. And on the back side, here's Kid Flash. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand, a collector's card, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and then 4 Speed Force effects. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Kid Flash from the Rebirth comics. His real name is Wallace West. Very similar to Wally West, although I can't imagine there's any relation. Now, I've always felt like Wally West is the true Kid Flash, but things change, people grow up. This Wallace West is the sort of standard Kid Flash in the comics nowadays. I do find it kind of odd McFarlane would make him a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive. You'd think a wide release would make a lot more sense. But it is what it is. So let's take a look at him. Start with his head here. It looks pretty good. He's got kind of the domino mask, the red lightning bolts on the side. He's got the little sort of slit cut into his hair. Looks pretty good. Detailing's nice. Going further down, he does have that yellow and red color scheme. Kind of makes you think of Reverse Flash, but his symbol is in the right direction here. The body seems familiar. Kind of slim, kind of small. I think it's a John Kent body, but we'll check that out a little bit shortly into the video. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. I appreciate the running hands. Very appropriate for a speedster. As a whole, he looks pretty cool, pretty normal, and iconic as a modern Kid Flash. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt, I think it looks pretty good. His hair, the line looks very nice. A little slit there, but mine has just sort of a little white speck behind it, which is annoying and noticeable. I am going to comment that he has a little bit of the side eyes going on. He's looking to the left. Yeah, it's not horrible, but if you look close, you can definitely see it. And here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane stand. We've all seen it before. It says DC on the bottom. 1 peg for the pegals on his feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Kid Flash. Kid Flash from DC's Rebirth. Now this is an image from the comics. I appreciate when they use an image of the source material versus simply using a picture of the figure itself. I do notice the slit in his hair. It's like a lightning bolt here. Looks like the figure kind of got that wrong. The figure is a spot-on version of this in action figure form. Backside, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 4 of them. 2 pair. 1 pair of fisted hands, and 1 pair of running hands. As far as I'm concerned, every single Flash figure should come with a pair of running hands, and another pair of hands. Personally, I'll pick some gripping hands. If he has running hands all the time, it's hard for him to casually interact with other action figures. The fists will at least do that, and they can double up and fight. Here's Kid Flash with his running hands. He can run with them. He can wave at somebody. He can also pimp slap someone. Pretty useful as a whole, not to mention karate chopping. And here he is, with his fisted hands. Now let's look at his Speed Force effects. He's got 4 of them. They all seem to be a little bit different. They're made and a little bit of bending material. Should be able to wrap around his limbs. Looks decent. Red lightning bolts. Here's Kid Flash, standing like normal. And then here, he strikes a running pose. And here he is in a running pose, with the Speed Force effects attached. Now I wanted to look at the base body used for Kid Flash. I thought it seemed familiar. It's more or less the same body as John Kent. Now there are a couple of shortcuts McFarlane took. Start with the feet here. As you can see, John Kent has that sort of red thing at the bottom. Kid Flash has that same thing, it's just not painted. Definitely a little bit lazy there. Legs are exactly the same. The sort of diaper piece is different. The torso, bottom part's the same. Top part, I guess it's different. Maybe it's based off the same buck and altered with their insignia there. Arms look to be the same, different hands. Pretty good use of the same body. These guys are both sort of teenagers, smaller, younger. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 6.8 inches tall, which can translate to about 17 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. You look up and down about that far. Gets him into some pretty good running poses. His body like this, head looking forward. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders, a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got that butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering up that large gap. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows that go all the way in. His wrist, and it's done the new style, not the ugly ball joints. Rotate, and it's hinged as well. Ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Pretty good range of motion in his torso area. Legs, almost complete just splits. Not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation is minimal. You go forward about that far, back, not much. Double jointed knees below that. Then his ankle here, also done the new style. Forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock, and toe articulation. For the next part of the video, let's switch to a city street type setting. Here's Kid Flash running through the streets of Central City, and a closer look at Kid Flash running through the street. He meets up with Barry Allen and Wally West. They've got some Flash rogues to take down, and the three of them run through the streets together, breaking the speed barrier tenfold. Now let's check them out next to some of their action figures, starting off with some of their Kid Flash figures. Here he is, next to a Mattel DC Universe Classics version of the Wally West Kid Flash, the original Kid Flash. And here he is, next to a DC Direct Kid Flash from CW's Arrowverse. This is also Wallace West. Here he is, next to a McFarlane DC Multiverse Kid Flash. This is Wallace West from Speed Metal. Now let's check him out next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, with the McFarlane DC Multiverse Wallace West Kid Flash from Speed Metal. And now, next to the DC Rebirth Barry Allen Flash. These guys make a great crime-fighting pair. Then, next to a video game Injustice 2 Flash. Here's Kid Flash, next to a couple of live-action Flash figures. These are both Barry Allen. On the left, we have Ezra Miller from the DC Cinematic Universe, and on the right, Grant Gustin from CW's Arrowverse. And here he is, next to the most recent Barry Allen figure. This is Flash from the third wave of Page Punchers. Then, next to a couple of Wally West Flash figures. This is when he was Flash, no longer the Kid Flash. Here's Kid Flash, with all the different Flash figures McFarlane has made. Here's Kid Flash, next to a couple of Reverse Flash figures. Notice the similarity in the color scheme. And here he is, next to both versions of Red Death. Then, here's Kid Flash, next to Godspeed. And here's Kid Flash, with all the different Speed Force figures McFarlane has made. I counted a total of 22. Flash has gotten some serious love lately. Here's Kid Flash, with all the other McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures. We have the Unmasked Zarnar Batman, Hush Superman, Rebirth Kid Flash, Unmasked Infinite Frontier, Damian Wayne. Then we have the gold label paint variations of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow and Red Hood. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Speed Metal Wave, Collective Build The Darkest Night. And here he is, next to the Arkham City, Collective Build Solomon Grundy Wave. Then, here he is, next to the third wave of Page Punchers. This was a Flash-themed wave. Right now is a really good time to be a Flash fan if you collect the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. And now, next to the second wave of Page Punchers. This is based off the Injustice 2 comic. Here's Kid Flash, next to the first wave of Page Punchers. This is a Black Adam themed wave. Walmart finally shipped my black and white Black Adam. My order was stuck. I had to cancel my pre-order and reorder him, then it shipped pretty much immediately. Really annoying. Here he is, next to the two most recent Mega figures, at least before Gorilla Grodd. These are Bane and Necron. Here he is, next to the recent gold label Target exclusive figures. We've got the Justice League Endless Winter Wonder Woman, Changing the Guard, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, the Black Adam movie Black Adam with Throne, and the Defiance Deathstroke. Then, next to the Walmart exclusive gold label figures, the Speed Metal Dark Flash, Rebirth Shazam, Nightfall, Azrael Batman Armor, and Parallax Hal Jordan. And now, here's Kid Flash, next to the 30th anniversary of Batman from Batman the Animated Series. Here's Kid Flash, next to the Court of Owl's Talon, and the Rebirth Deathstroke. And here he is, next to the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack. Then, next to the Speeding Bullets Batman, and the Dark Knight's Metal Batrocidus. And now, with the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow, the Future State Superman, and the New 52 Static. And finally, here he is, next to the Black Adam movie wave, which I believe is finally complete. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. Kid Flash is a little bit shorter, as he's a younger character. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST, or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, with some Mayfix figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, with some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, he's a pretty nice figure. I appreciate the fact that he's a regular, iconic-looking Kid Flash from the Rebirth comics. I'm not even screaming for classic stuff, just normal, iconic stuff. McFarlane have revealed this guy on social media, put him on their website, and bam, shipped him real quick. The pre-order says November, if I'm not mistaken, and they got him out to our hands very fast. His accessories are pretty cool, the Speed Force effects. Articulation is everything you would expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. Sculpt and paint job are very nice. He's using that John Kent body, and there's a couple lazy things on there, but nothing too major. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Probably give him a little higher if he didn't have those lazy sort of sculpting issues around his ankles. But it is what it is. He actually looks really good. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.